Hey, welcome to another episode of The Rob Report. I'm your host, Robert Bob TV Brown. Before we get into this segment, by the end of this video, I want you to do a few things for me. First of all, if you like the video, hit the like button. Please do. If you don't like it, hit unlike. It's okay. Make sure you are subscribed to this channel. Sometimes, as Jimmy Dole would say, you find yourself unsubscribed and you need to make sure that you subscribe to this channel. Hit the notification bell right next to it so you can be notified when a new video is being dropped. Whoop, there it is. And more importantly, the super chat will be on for this segment. So if you want to donate toward the efforts of Bob TV, that's freely up to you. I do have a job, but any amount will help toward the growth of this channel. And more important, let us help you help us by introducing you to a program. There's a link down below that says Equal Justice for All. You're going to click that video link, and there's some educational tutorial about a phenomenal program in America that is really making equal justice a reality for every citizen. So this program is phenomenal. The proceeds from you participating in the program will go back, 10% will go back into the Bob TV YouTube channel. So anyway, my name is Robert Brown with The Rob Report. Let's get into it.
Blue collar, white collar, black professors, white scholars, politicians, Dalai Lamas. Everybody in the whole wide world need hope if I be honest. I'm in that number.
Anyway, Venezuela. Let's talk about Venezuela for a second. Venezuela, one of the most oil-rich country, which is the richest oil-based company in the world. And believe me, the reason we're going through this mess right now is not socialism, it's not Maduro, it's oil. It's petrol. This is one of the wealthiest countries in the world, and our government got to do the same old cookie cutter crap that they always do. Call the person a dictator, say he's damaging his own people, and then find a way to bring humanitarian aid in there and sneak some guns in there and arm the enemy or arm some rebels that's on our side that try to overthrow this person. It's old as dust. We did it with Saddam Hussein. We tried to do it with Mossadegh. We tried to do it with the Shah of Iran. We tried to do it. We're trying to do it with Syria. We always are trying to do this stuff. We try to do it with Cuba, with Fidel Castro. The same old cookie cutter playlist. And we gotta push back against our government doing this. Now, this whole thing probably be demonetized because I'm talking about Venezuela. Anytime you say Syria, Venezuela, you two want to act like buttholes and demonetize you for nothing. Freedom of speech, it's not hate speech, it's just the truth. Now, I'm going to go into a couple of videos concerning Venezuela, and I'll be right back. Let's watch a couple of videos, okay? All right, give me a moment. Is this man was elected in a huge numbers, and our government don't like this dude. Why? Because he's not sharing the oil. You're not sharing the wealth, brother. It's funny how our country try to crap on socialism or social democracy or democratic socialism. They try to crap on those ideas where we expect them to take our tax money and use it for our own purposes. We're not talking about taking over the government and government taking control of everything. That's communism. Basis is on Marxism. We're not talking about that. They're upset because Venezuela won't share their oil with them, but that we'll share it with China, we'll share it with Russia. I mean, they'll share it with who they want to share, but we want to butt in and demand that they share their oil with us. And when we wouldn't do it, what we did when Chavez took over, we want to press down any country that don't go by our will and our way. And it's mainly always black and brown countries. And Venezuela is a brown country and black. There's a whole bunch of black people down there in Venezuela, as well as Brazil, Chile, and the whole 9 yards. So this is a brown country. Once again, imperialism from the United States, colonialism from the United States is trying to come in and take control of a country and trying to use false pretense to make that happen. Now, let me keep going with this video. Now, look at this guy. This is the interim so-called president who was not voted, who skated their constitution and got placed in there by and acknowledged by our government. Same old cookie playbook. We find some kind of puppet leader and we'll put them, we assume that they're going to be the new leader. And when they push back against that, the people and Maduro push back on it, we want to go to war. We want to start some kind of war change, intervention, regime change. Now look at this guy. This guy ain't nothing but another version of Latino Obama. Watch this. This guy is on the ground in Venezuela talking to the people of Venezuela and get their thoughts on what's going on in Venezuela.
Recogiendo firmas contra las intenciones del gobierno norteamericano para invadir, hollar el sagrado suelo de nuestra patria. Entonces por ahora estamos recogiendo millones de firmas. Eso es lo que estamos haciendo.
Bueno, vine muy contenta, muy alegre, porque quiero estampar mi firma en contra del imperio a favor de nuestro comandante, Hugo Chávez y Nicolás Maduro.
Para darle apoyo al presidente, porque estoy consciente de lo que está pasando, que es algo que es sumamente delicado y peligroso para nosotros.
Vine a defender mi voto, que yo voté por el presidente Maduro y tienen que respetarse mi voto.
Un presidente que se autoproclama el mismo, sabiendo él como diputado y presidente de la Asamblea Nacional que no lo puede hacer, porque nosotros el 20 de mayo votamos por nuestro presidente Nicolás Maduro. Ellos no votaron, ese es el problema de ellos, pero yo estoy aquí hoy en día defendiendo mi voto.
Yo pienso que puede presentarse una guerra civil debido a que la mayoría de las personas del pueblo está con el presidente Maduro, puesto que aquí se hicieron unas elecciones y las elecciones fueron ganadas por Maduro porque la mayoría del pueblo salió a votar por Maduro. Entonces ese mismo pueblo va a salir a reclamar su derecho, porque ese señor es un usurpador, ya que a él nadie lo ha elegido. Ellos no participaron de elecciones, él no fue ni siquiera candidato.
El presidente que nosotros elegimos, que votamos, fue por Nicolás Maduro Moro. Es nuestro presidente, fue nuestra decisión en las elecciones que hubieron en mayo. Ese es nuestro presidente. No, para nosotros es totalmente inconstitucional, dentro de la Constitución, que exista un personaje como el señor Guaidó, que nadie votó por él, no es constitucionalmente, eso no está permitido, es totalmente ilegítimo.
The government of Canada, where I'm from, and the government of the United States and a few other governments have recognized Juan Guaidó as the president of Venezuela. What do you have a message for the people of Canada, where I come from, and the people of the United States, in terms of how they should address the crisis in Venezuela?
Trump lo que quiere es la riqueza de nuestro país, quiere nuestro petróleo, diamante, agua, oro, el coltán. Ese hombre lo que quiere es robarse todo. Y como aquí, gracias a Jehová, a Dios, nos puso el presidente Chávez, que nos abrió los ojos, más nunca vamos a ser ciegos, porque él nos hizo ver. Y ese presidente, todo lo que ha dado aquí, no lo va a dar ningún Guaidó, porque nos dio vivienda, salud, nos dio educación. Aparte de la educación, todo lo que es de petróleo lo hemos disfrutado los pobres cuando antes no lo podíamos disfrutar. Lo disfrutaban solo los que trabajaban en petróleo de Venezuela. Y eso es lo que quiere el Trump, robarse todo.
No lo va a lograr porque sería un combate permanente. No lo van a lograr. Y si insistieran, será un combate permanente hasta la muerte.
Mr. Guaidó manages to take power. If that were to happen, how do you think it would affect the people of the ordinary people of Venezuela, and especially the workers of Venezuela and the poor people of Venezuela?
Bueno, ¿cómo vamos a quedarnos, Cao? Se adueñan de nuestro país, perdemos la riqueza, porque ellos lo que están detrás de la riqueza de nuestro pueblo, porque somos ricos en naturaleza, en petróleo, en todo. Entonces lo que pasaría con eso, que un supuesto negado, que ese señor llegara, ni Dios lo quiera, bueno, perderíamos los programas sociales, las misiones, todo lo que nos dejó nuestro comandante. Y bueno, no creo, porque en ningún momento yo fui a firmar por él, yo fui a elecciones por él. Entonces no sé, No sé en qué se basa él para decir que va a ser presidente interino.
So you've pulled something out of your purse. Could you please show it to the camera and tell me what it is?
Esta es la Constitución de la República Bolivariana de Venezuela. Esta es la Carta Magna que nos rige toda la parte política del país. Nosotros nos regimos por esta Constitución. Si las personas que salieron a declararse presidente sin leer la Constitución, la verdad que lo lamentamos mucho por ello, pero nosotros nos regimos por esta Constitución. Este es el artículo que dice que serán faltas absolutas del presidente, su muerte, su renuncia o su destitución por sentencia de un tribunal de Supremo de Justicia o por una incapacidad física mental. Y ninguno de estas condiciones las tiene el presidente Nicolás Maduro. El presidente Nicolás Maduro está en su sano juicio, está presente físicamente con nosotros y fue electo por nosotros en unas elecciones el 20 de mayo.
And the article you were showing us just now, that's Article 233, which Juan Guaidó is citing to justify his seizure of the presidency, right?
Bueno, yo pienso que él no lo hizo pensando en el artículo, sino que lo hizo arbitrariamente. A lo mejor no ha leído el artículo. Hay que recordárselo todos los días para que él lo lea y se dé cuenta que ese artículo no lo puede violar tan fácilmente, porque aquí estamos un pueblo que votamos por el presidente Nicolás Maduro bajo las condiciones que se nos pusieron para hacer ese evento electoral, el Consejo Nacional Electoral. Entonces él tiene que respetar todas esas condiciones.
If Juan Guaidó succeeds in becoming president and taking power, how do you think that will affect the well-being, the status of people of African origin here in Venezuela?
No, es totalmente inviable esa posibilidad de que él sea presidente. Es descartado, totalmente. No es posible. Todos en Venezuela estamos claros de lo que sucedió en Libia, ¿entiendes? Sabemos cuál fue ese modo operandi, esa forma de trabajar de parte del gobierno norteamericano contra el pueblo libio. Un gobierno paralelo para buscar la manera de legitimarlo por la vía internacional. Pero no, aquí en Venezuela ese escenario no va a suceder. No va a suceder. Estamos totalmente seguros de que no va a suceder.
The deal. They know how our country operates. And how long do America think we're going to be able to continue to bully ourselves around the world, push over black and brown people all over the world, try to call the shots for everybody? We're not even the world police. We're the world bully. We're always putting sanctions on people. We got a sanction on Russia. We got a sanction on Iran. We got a sanction on Venezuela. And then why? Why do we have these sanctions on these people? Because they don't go along with our plan. We want to act like we own the world. There's no world community. We are the world community. If the entire community is against us, we're going to lash back on them. I mean, it kind of ticks me off because America is supposed to be the beacon of every country. Every country used to know us for our so-called love to certain people, not to everybody, but to certain people. They knew we were the land of opportunity. They knew we were the land of freedom and equality and all that kind of stuff. And here we go into, and on another thing, get out of my face with this Russia tried to steal the election and Trump and all that. And I'm not a Trump fan, but look at what you guys are doing. Again, you're trying to overthrow a government. Which one is worse? Overthrowing the government or somebody sucking at being a politician and running for office that a person who should suck worse beat them and won the electoral college and became president, even though you had more people who voted for you. The understanding is our Constitution, our electorate don't work like that. Just like in Brazil. You cannot just come in there and take over a country when they have a constitution and electorate. Who elected that man? You may not like him. He may be brutal. He may be a butthole. He may be doing certain things to his people. That may be true. Just like Saddam Hussein, just like Bashar al-Assad, And just like the United States, brutalizing our own people. There are people still in Flint, Michigan, they ain't got no water. There's people still sick and can't even, homelessness all over the place. And then we got the nerve to talk about what's going on in Venezuela. By the way, Venezuela is getting aid. They're not dumb. They are getting aid from other countries that are supporting them and supporting Maduro. These people say they elected Maduro. Who in the blue hell are you to come into my country and try to take my president out of office? I mean, somebody got to say it, right? Somebody got to say it.
Looking at the oil assets, that's the single most important. You
hear that? This old Western cowboy bad guy, this outlaw right here, John Bolton with the cowboy outlaw mustache, him and Elliot Abrams, they know what they're doing. They want to go in there and take the oil. They want to put somebody in office that's going to help them get that oil. They're going to try to bring aid to the country and put in, now it's, Abrams is known for packing up aid and shipping guns in it. From Nicaragua all the way to Iran.
Looking at the oil assets, that's the single most important income stream to the government of Venezuela.
See, we're looking at the oil access. Now, when we went to Iraq, what were we looking for? We're looking at the oil access. We're trying to protect the oil refineries. And the Iraqi people and some of the Iraqi insurgents say we'll rather burn the oil fields down before we let y'all have it. In other words, this is ours. And you think you're going to come here and take what's ours? Really? We'll burn it down before you take what's ours. And that's how these people in Venezuela feel. Who in the world are us to go? Who in the world? Let me keep going.
We're looking at what to do to that. We want everybody to know we're looking at all this very seriously. We don't want any American businesses or investors caught by surprise. They can see what President Trump did yesterday. We're following through on it.
So if you think of a company like Citgo.
Now, this lady right here, Lord knows, Trish Reagan, she loved to spout out socialism. Everything come out of her mouth, socialist dictator, socialism, socialism. This is the playbook that Trump is going to try to use to win re-election, to try to get us to be scared of socialism. When it's socialism that brought that country to prosperity. Now, I'm not a fanboy for socialism. I think that I believe in social programming. Venezuela has a lot of social programming, and just like Gaddafi, despite the allegations of being a brutal dictator, it's always the black and brown man who's running the country that takes their resources and give it back to the people that is considered a dictator, a brutal dictator that's destroying their own people. It's always the black and brown. Nobody says that about Angela Merkel, who's been in office for umpteen years. Nobody said that. They say that about, Vladimir Putin, but still they call him President Vladimir Putin. They don't outright call him a dictator in his face. They still call him president. I mean, he's been in there how long? And had it not been for us putting in term limits, we probably still have Barack Obama as president. But we got term limits. We put term limits because we don't want to have a person ruling and dictating our country either. FDR was so good at doing social programming to America that the people would have kept reelecting him over and over again. And that's how it was with Chavez. That's how it was with Gaddafi. The man was doing so much for his people that they kept reelecting. But we want to make it look like, how in the world are you going to get all these people reelecting you at 70%, 80%? So, nah, you guys rigging the poll. No, these people probably like the fact that that man is taking the resources and giving it back to the people. And that's probably what Chavez did, and that's probably what Maduro did. And what we do, we're so mad. We don't want the idea of socialism gaining any steam that we got to shame it. We got to ridicule it. We got to make it look bad. And then we got to stomp it out. We got to put sanctions on the country. And we're putting sanctions on all this country, understanding that is the main reason why these people are eating out of garbage can, why these people are eating trash, while they so-called eating rats. It's not socialism. It's imperialism. It's the capitalistic society of the United States trying to go in and take what's part of that country, the oil, the gold, all the resources there. Let me keep going.
Which is owned by PDVSA, which is the state-run oil company there in Venezuela. We have a lot of those Citgo assets right here in the U.S. Is that something, for example, sir, that you're looking at?
Yeah, well, we're in conversation with major American companies now that are either in Venezuela or, in the case of Citgo, here in the United States. I think we're trying to get to the same end result here. You know, Venezuela is one of the three countries I call the troika of tyranny. It'll make a big difference to the United States.
Now, they'll show all that and make you think that is not for Maduro. That is for the opposition, the person who's taking over. You don't know that. You don't know that. How many videos have they taken of them on the ground talking to these people to see who they support? No, they just do this flash pan drone of this huge crowd out here.
States economically, if we could have American oil companies really invest in and produce the oil capabilities in Venezuela, it'd be good for the people of Venezuela, it'd be good for the people of the United States. We both have a lot at stake here, making this come out the right way.
See, they even admit it. Venezuela regime change is big business opportunity, says John Bolton. See, this is the problem with having oligarchs run your country. I mean, I'm sorry, Trumpites. I love you. But Trump is an oligarch. Now, that's what happened with the Democrats, too, and most of the Democrats support this move. But it's a bad move.
When we did a regime change in Panama in 1989, that was 28,000 troops. It could not conduct a regime change. When we did a regime change in Panama in 1989, that was 28,000 troops in a night raid, essentially, that lasted a couple of days. And in Haiti in 1994, that was another close to 28,000, and the U.S. led the coalition to do that. So obviously 5,000 does not get you a regime change. It would be likely in the event that we have a security problem with our Americans who are at the embassy, and it would exceed the capability of some Marines that are also on standby to go in there, which is a smaller group. It's called a fast group, to use an abbreviation. Apologize for that. Right. So I think it's a precautionary measure that's being taken in the event that we have an unforeseen emergency.
So let me ask you, General. We are in favor of getting Nicolas Maduro out of there. We argue that he does not represent the will of the people, and this opposition leader, Juan Guaidó, does. And to put the pressure on, besides these 5,000 troops in Colombia, which might or might not...
Venezuela and Barack Obama.
Raising eyebrows. We've obviously got this against the state-run oil company to freeze it, essentially, on getting its goods out and back to the government. So how does that affect the generals who typically have been and remain behind Maduro? What would shake them off?
Well, you put your finger right on it. I mean, the sanctions are certainly a good thing because they are significant and it will take its toll. But like all sanctions, it takes a while for that impact to occur. The generals...
Now, they're just sitting here admitting that sanctions, and we all know this, is designed to cripple the people of Venezuela. And the reason they want to cripple the Venezuelan people because they want the Venezuelan people to turn on their dictator or to turn on their leader. This playbook is old as dust. That is the reason why they put sanction on the people. They don't put it on the government. They always say we're putting sanctions on Putin or we're putting sanction on Russia and stuff like that. No, you're putting sanction on people who had nothing to do with this. Nothing. We did it to Iran. And those people out there struggling because they can't get the things that they need because we done frozen the assets. We done blockade food from coming in. We're doing no different from what the Saudis is doing in Yemen. keeping things from coming in where those people can live a productive life. Why? Because we need them to turn on this man, and we believe if we do that, if we cripple the economy, they're going to blame him and turn on him and get rid of him and help us do that, and we'll be the heroes, and we'll so-called bring the oil in, and we'll build that country back up. Nah, that never happens. It never happens. You look at Iran right now, it's horrible. Libya is horrible. Obama and Clinton messed that up, and they selling slaves down there. The same old cookie cutter playbook. All we want is that land. We don't give a crap about you people. That is American standard. Heck, they don't even care about us, the people that's in this country. All right, let me.
What is particularly Machiavellian, what is particularly cynical, is to cause an economic crisis that threatens to become a humanitarian crisis. That's what the United States has done through the financial blockade, through the sanctions, and then to say, oh, we're going to offer you humanitarian help. We're sending so and so many tons of humanitarian assistance through U.S. aid. We're sending it to Colombia, and we're going to deliver it. Now, I think that here Juan Guaidó is being shall we say, the jockey. He is riding on the Trojan horse of the United States. But the solution of the problem is much easier than the Band-Aid of sending some packages of food or of medicine. The solution is in my report. What I told the Human Rights Council is that the financial blockade has had extremely adverse human rights impacts. Obviously, the origin of the current economic crisis is in the fall, the dramatic fall in the price of oil. But normally, you would be able to fix that. A country as wealthy as Venezuela should have been able to borrow money on its enormous natural resources, and then would have been able to buy and sell like anybody else. But no, the United States has made sure that because of the threat of enormous penalties to the U.S. Treasury, the banks have been closing the accounts of the Venezuelan government and of the Petróleos of Venezuela. Already in July 2017, Citibank unexpectedly decided, without prior notice and arbitrarily, to close the bank accounts of the Central Bank of Venezuela and the Bank of Venezuela in November 2017. Again, Citibank blocked the transfer for a shipment of more than 300,000 doses of insulin. In November 2017, the company Euroclear retained $1.65 billion that the Venezuelan government had paid for the purpose for the purchase of food and medicine. Citgo, the Venezuelan state oil company based in the U.S., has not been able to transfer its profits outside the United States of America. It needs that money to buy food and medicine. And it is in the neighborhood, I think, by now of $9 or $10 billion that have been withheld. There again, Wells Fargo Bank withheld and canceled payment of $7,500,000 made by Brazil to Venezuela for the sale of electricity. In May 2018, the Venezuelan Minister of People's Power informed that a financial transaction amounting to $7 million for the purchase of dialysis supplies for patients, including children and adolescents, requiring such treatment had been blocked. So you see here the immorality of it, but not only the immorality of it, there is personal criminal liability for the impact of these sanctions. I mean, I am certain that the increase in child mortality, the increase in maternal mortality, the increased deaths for lack of insulin or lack of antiretroviral drugs is a direct result of this blockage, so that Venezuela has not been able to purchase what its people deserve. It's not like the government doesn't want to distribute. Is that the government is being, through an external economic war, is being asphyxiated. And that was the name of the game. What the United States intended to do was to create a situation whereby the people or the military would topple the government, and then the 1% could again come in and could again control the wealth of Venezuela. Venezuela had succeeded in bringing millions and millions of Venezuelans out of extreme poverty. Nobody cared in the 1980s and 90s that there were millions of Venezuelans dying of hunger and malnutrition. No one cared. It was a government that was palatable to Washington, and a government that was a right-wing government. The moment that a left-wing government came in power, priority number one in Washington was to topple it.
And now you have the Bank of England seizing the gold, right, from Maduro, over $1 billion worth, and threatening to give it to Juan Guaido.
That's yet another violation of international law. But try to bring the United States before the International Criminal Court or before the International Court of Justice. What I think is important now would be for the General Assembly to adopt a resolution condemning the sanctions and asking that the sanctions be lifted, because sanctions kill. I would also like to see the prosecutor of the International Criminal Court investigate to what extent the deaths already occurred in connection with the sanctions amount to a violation of Article 7 of the Statute of Rome. Article 7 defines crimes against humanity. Now, when you deliberately impose sanctions and financial blockades and an economic war that asphyxiates a country's economy and thereby make it very difficult for that country to provide the necessary food and medicines to its population, and as a consequence, thousands of people die, you have a case of crime against humanity. But the narrative in the mainstream press completely ignores it. When they refer to a humanitarian crisis, they put the entire fault on the government, and they say, well, socialism is a proven failure. Socialism will never work, therefore you have to have regime change.
Juan Guaido swore himself in and was backed by the rest of the free world.
And he has been recognized as such by the rational half of the world.
Now a long list of countries joining the U.S. supporting Guaido.
The sea of yellow you see there now recognizes the opposition leader, Juan Guaido.
This coup is painted as...
Hey, you know Africa was not down with that. All right, so guys, tell me, I'm not going to play this. Abby Martin is excellent. I'm a fan. It's kind of pretty too. That's another story. All right, so let's see. How about that? Is that good? Haley, is that good? All right, so anyway, I was going to go into reparations. I've been here too long. Talk about reparation tomorrow. Very important subject. But I want to thank you guys for being on. Before I go, I want to go into this. We all know what's going on here. Okay? I'm with the gentleman who just said that people who do this stuff are violating humanitarian laws. But we act like we ain't nobody gonna mess with us because we're America and we're not subject to humanitarian laws. And if anybody want to come out here and get me, they can get me. It sounds just like the mob boss. It sounds just like the kingpin who know the police department is not as half the size of the men he got. So he could talk trash and say, well, come get me. What you gonna do about it? That's that bullyingism, if that's a word, that we Americans have for this country. We're the most powerful, we're the most richest country in the world, and we want to stay that way. And the only reason we can stay the most powerful and the most richest is we got to suppress any other country who has just as much as riches as we do in that ground. Now, me, I'm not a full-blown socialist. I'm not a Marxist. I'm not a communism. Shout out to my homeboy, Marco Pons. He's a full-fledged communist, and he think I should go this way. No, I believe that there should be a mixture of socialism and capitalism. Capitalism, in my book, isn't 100% horrible. It does have its horrible. Crony capitalism is a problem, a big problem. Vulture capitalism is a big problem. And not being able to put these companies in a position where they have to do something socially for those who are below us, or what we call us minions. We got to do that. We got to tax these companies so we can develop the income to do more social programming. Why? Because we ain't got oil like Venezuela. Venezuela is using their resources, taking that money and building social programs. And let's not even talk about Maduro. Let's talk about what is normally going on with countries like this. Libya, the same thing. Gaddafi gave people housing. Gaddafi homelessness was not as rampant as it is in the United States and Libya. They got educated there in Libya. Libya actually sent a lot of them here to get educated, gave them a stipend where they can have rent money to pay rent while they're going to school and food. So, and, you know, I can go on and on and on. Ask them to come back and work a little bit to pay it off. You know, they had electric. So most of the countries that are rich in oil do try their best to give that money back to the people. But we assume just because the leader living high on a hog that the people not getting anything. Well, I don't know. These guys like to dress up in military outfits. What can I say? But the bottom line is they may be horrible leaders, and that is bad. But them people didn't ask for our help. So why are we trying to bum rush them and bogart our way to take over that country, or to put in a puppet leader who wasn't even elected, who bypassed their constitution, and we're going to cram their puppet leader down their throat, whether they like it or not? Sound like the 2016 election when they tried to cram a certain politician down our throat and we wasn't having it. Those people not having it for it. They're going to take it to the streets and they're going to go off. They're going to fight this thing. And I'm not for it. I'm not in support of America. I'm going to say it right here. You can call me a Maduro apologist or nothing like that. I just believe, I'm on the side of Tulsi Gabbard. These things don't work. Not for helping those people. Why? Because it's not designed to work to help the people of this country. It is designed to take over their resources and put in a puppet leader to do our bidding. It's the same playbook over and over again, and now Trump is doing it. And Trump, if he does this and people die, like he's already been a part of that mess in Yemen, working with those Saudis, that make Trump a war criminal, just like Obama, just like George W. Bush, just like George Bush. I can go on and on. War criminals. And they need to face the world court. Because who in the world are we to be doing these things? They never do it to Switzerland. They never do it to Norway. They never do it. I'm just telling the truth. They don't. They always find those countries. Now, if you saw on that map, Africa is not supporting us in this. I'm talking about the long list. The list short as I don't know what. You know, it's people who we're scared of. We're probably bullying them into support, just like Trump is trying to bully the Nobel Peace Prize company and the people to give him a Nobel Peace Prize. Get out of here with this stuff. Well, I'm done.